driven to extinction, back for revenge. Hey there, welcome back to another review, this time of the 1993 film Carnosaur. The first of a trilogy of films that New Horizons Productions, which was operated and owned and operated by Roger Corman. The first of these three films that pretty much were made to cash in on Jurassic Park. There's even a line of dialogue in the film that is basically just cashing in on the movie. Yeah. So let's get started with this review, shall we, of Carnosaur. Carnosaur is a film that is written by Adam Simon and based on a book of the same name by Harry Adam Knight. It's a very loose adaptation because it doesn't really follow the book that much. It features cinematography by Keith Holland. It's edited by Richard Gentiner. It features music by Nigel Holton, and it's also directed by Adam Simon. It features Diane Ladd as Dr. Jane Tiptree, and Diane Ladd is actually the mother of Laura Dern, who you know was one of the stars in Jurassic Park, played Dr. Ellie Sattler. You also have Raphael Sbarge from The Hidden Two as Doc Smith. You have Jennifer Runyon, who plays Anne Thrush. Harrison Page from Jason Goes to Hell plays Sheriff Fowler. You have Ned Bellamy plays Fallon. And you have Clint Howard, who plays Slim Fryer. And you also have Frank Novak as Jesse Paloma. And that is the cast and crew of Carnosaur. Set in the American Southwest, Doc, played by Raphael Sbarge, is an alcoholic security watchman protecting digging equipment from environmental activists, though he befriends one of them named Thrush, played by Jennifer Runyon. Meanwhile, Dr. Jane Tiptree, played by Diane Ladd, of the Eunice Corporation, is breeding a strain of extra-large and fertile chickens by splicing their DNA with that of crocodiles, iguanas, albatrosses, vultures, pelicans, turkeys, and ostriches. Unknown to the corporation sponsors, however, Tiptree is impregnating several of the chickens with dinosaur DNA. One of her resulting creatures, a Deinonychus, escapes and kills the activists, as well as other civilians. Doc investigates and discovers that Tiptree is also creating a virus which causes women to fatally conceive baby dinosaurs, in order to wipe out humanity and thus allow carnosaurs and raptors to reclaim the Earth as their own. Tiptree dies, giving birth to a baby raptor. After narrowly escaping a Tyrannosaurus at the lab, Doc takes Thrush to a house to recover and injects a serum to cure her. Doc battles the Tyrannosaurus with a bobcat skid steer before impaling it. And then the government infiltrates the community in order to sterilize the situation by shooting all of the civilians, infected or not, because the government are a bunch of assholes in this movie, and Thrush dies from the virus, meaning that the serum did not work. Doc is shot and then killed by government soldiers, who then burn his and Thrush's bodies. And yes, that's how the movie ends. Just as shitty to hear as it would be to see. But yeah, that's the plot of Carnosaur. When it comes to pros for Carnosaur, there's actually a few of them. There's a decent amount of them. I don't hate this film. I think it's a poor movie. I think it's not very good, but I don't hate it because it's a low-budget film, and they did do some kind of cool things with it. There's some likable characters here and there. It's one of those love-hate. I guess there are some things about it I do hate, but there are some things I do like about it, though, about this film. And one of them is definitely I thought the dialogue by Adam Simon was really fun. There's some really good zingers in this. Specifically, I actually wrote all these dialogue down so I'm just going to read off the lines of dialogue that I wrote down that I thought were kind of fun. You had these guys who are working as security guards for Eunice. They're talking about the chickens, and then they're talking about organic living creatures, and one of the guys is like, "Oh yeah, how about orgasmic living creatures? Huh? Like my wife, huh? Orgasmic living creature, like my wife. My wife's an orgasmic living creature. Then there was most of the fun lines though were given to Doc, played by Raphael Sbarge, who is actually good in this. The same guy who was in The Hidden Two, suck dick, can't act, was absolutely terrible in that movie. Here he's not as bad. He's actually kind of decent, which is surprising. It really is surprising. It was actually a lot of fun, to be honest. I was really surprised by his performance in this movie because I'm used to him being really, really bad for the most part. Because the other role I remember in the most for was playing Colin McLaughlin's character in The Hidden Two and doing a terrible job of it. But here he has a personality. He's actually fun to watch. Some of the lines of dialogue, he starts out, he's like talking about to these environmental activists who are on his turf, and he's all like, yeah, I'm so drunk, I can't shoot worth shit. And you better run. Next time I'll bring a bigger gun. Next time I'll have a bigger gun. And then like he meets up with Thrush and he's talking to this guy over the radio. And he's like, just nonchalantly, he's all like, this isn't a pink elephant. It's a girl. And then Thrush is like, a woman. And he's like, a woman in black lycra. And then there's another guy who's just talking over the phone to some guy, and he's pissed at him. So he's like, I could give a chicken's lips for your excuses, boy. And then here's some more of quotes from the movie. Thrush is talking to Doc, and she's all like, it's good to remember how small we are. And then Doc's like, I thought that's what mirrors were for. And then there's another line, throwaway line from some guy. He's like, who worked at the Geneticist Corporation. He's all like, chickens? It's Attack of the Killer Poultry. And then I like this line with Doc. He drives up to Thrush, and he's trying to get her to ride with him. And he's all like, well, look, I'm going that way anyway. And I swear to God, if you don't come, I will be driving around aimlessly for hours, wasting oil, wasting pollution, polluting the atmosphere, killing small animals along the road, ripping up flora. And Thrush replies back to him, like, blackmail? And he's like, I'm not proud. And then she replies, she's like, I know. I had fun with that. And then there's another one where the environmental activists are still there, but this time they're camping out and trying to protest around his equipment. So Doc shows up and gives them a piece of his mind, and he's all like, if you're still here by tomorrow morning, I'll cut you out with blowtorches. And do any of you want a wheatgrass sandwich or some herbal tea? No? Thanks for the lovely evening. It was grand. And then there's another line. This guy says, this guy works at a diner. He's like, yeah, that's a 2-ton load of chicken shit. Which is exactly what I think of this movie's ending. It's a 2-ton load of chicken shit. And then one of the environmental activist guys, before one of the Dinoxius, I probably didn't pronounce that properly. Raptor. It looks like a raptor. Green Raptor shows up. And he's like, greetings, green brother. And then the raptor eats his ass. And then when Doc has a gun and he's pointing at Dr. Jane Tiptree's eggs, he's like, how do you like your eggs? Scrambled or sunny side up? And then he's talking to her. He's like, did you lay them yourself? And then he's talking to her. And this is the line from the trailer, which I always remember. She's told him about her plan. She's going to give the world back to the dinosaurs. And he's like, so you're going to give the Earth back to the dinosaur? That's really fabulous. Make a great theme park. And then like there was another line that I remember, which is just totally random, where this guy's on the radio and he sees a dinosaur, and he just says over the radio, the CB radio, he says, "Holy fucking dinosaur!" And then I like the last line that Doc has before he kills the T-Rex with the Bobcat skid steer. He's like, "I hate wildlife." So, and I hate this movie's shitty ending. But I do like the lines of dialogue. I got a lot of chuckles and some fun out of the dialogue in this movie. Yeah, I also thought the editing was really not that bad for a film like this. There's some moments where I dragged a little bit, but it could be a lot worse. I like the performances by Raphael Sbarge, especially. I enjoyed his character. That's why the ending pisses me off so much. Because I like that character. It was a lot of fun, and just he kicks the dinosaur's ass and then gets fucking shot by the fucking military. Some bullshit. Then Jennifer Runyon, I thought, did decent as Thrush. Not the best performance in the world, but it was decent enough. And Diane Ladd, I thought she did a great job. Very creepy, very eerie, very well done performance by Diane Ladd. Had a lot of good lines of dialogue from her. And I thought the creature effects by John Carl Buechler were actually pretty good for such a low budget. They had like $1 million to work with, or less than that. They didn't have that much to work with for this movie. It's only about $850,000. And the film was actually supposed to have more money because John Brosnan was first approached to write the screenplay in mid-1991 by Roger Corman's wife, Julie, who formalized the deal at Brosnan's drinking club, who drew up the contract on a bar napkin, as the film was meant to compete with Jurassic Park. Brosnan later wrote that he was taken aback when it was revealed that the film's budget would have only been $1 million. Although concerned that the restricted budget would require a reduction in the amount of dinosaurs used, Corman assured him that he was free to write whatever he wanted, and that any modifications would be made in the final draft. Once Brosnan sent his first draft to Hollywood, he lost all contact with the film crew, and his screenplay had in fact been heavily revised to the point where his credit had been reduced to original story. And so it was originally supposed to have $1 million budget, which was even too low for what Brosnan thought, and then it ended up with an $850,000 budget. And the special effects were made by John Carl Buechler, who was assigned to create the dinosaur models under the supervision of amateur paleontologist Donald F. Glut. Buechler's special effects crew only had 10 weeks to complete both the miniature and full-size models due to the film's limited budget. Also, many of Glut's suggestions were not incorporated into the dinosaurs' final designs, as many of the models were already in various stages of completion when he was consulted. For the Tyrannosaurus Rex, Buechler created numerous different sized props, including a pneumatically operated creature measuring 16 feet in height. Not 6 feet, 16 feet in height, 25 feet in length, and 450 pounds in weight. A 7-foot-tall, 2.1-meter suit version, and a 3-foot-tall, 0.91-meter mechanical walking puppet. An 8-foot-tall, 2.4-meter suit was made for the Deinonychus, as well as a 1-foot-tall, 0.30-meter mechanized walking mock-up. Due to the low budget, Buechler could not create the full-scale Tyrannosaurus model with standard sculpting and molding techniques, and therefore the Tyrannosaurus' understructure was built using L200, a light polyurethane foam, while the skin was crafted with urethane foam sheets. Miniature models for the Tyrannosaurus and the skid loader were used for the most of the pentimulate scene, the climactic sequence, as the full-scale model was too inarticulate to fight the vehicle convincingly. And they ended up actually using a hand puppet in one scene. But I thought for the low budget, I thought some of the creature effects are actually pretty good. So on the Deinonychus, the gory bits were good. There was a bit with these environmental teenagers get stuck in the desert and they get eaten by a Deinonychus. There's one girl who gets her leg bitten off, and the Deinonychus eats it. It's a pretty good effect. The death of the character played by Harrison Page, I thought was actually pretty good. The sheriff, he gets stabbed through the stomach by one of the Deinonychus's feet, and he blows its head off in a pretty good effect with a shotgun. So there's some pretty decent effects here, I thought, for a low budget. And I did really enjoy the Bobcat skid steer versus the T-Rex sequence. It was fun. It was fun to see. Yeah, it looked kind of fake at points, but it is a very low budget, so I'm willing to give it a little bit of a pass there. for because it still decided to go with that concept, and that was a fun concept. But yeah, those are my pros for Carnosaur. Now, this film definitely does have quite a few cons, though. One big one is the writing by Adam Simon. There's some good bits of dialogue here and there, but the plot is utter nonsense. I mean, chickens and chicken DNA and the whole thing with the virus made by Dr. Jane Tiptree to make it so women die off and die giving birth to dinosaur eggs with dinosaurs. It's just this crazy half-baked shit that I swear to God he must have been high when he wrote the script. And the ending is one of the worst things about this movie. The ending is so infuriating. It makes me want to throw this movie out the goddamn window. It really does. I hate the ending of this movie. And it's building up to it anyway. And what it's trying to do is add some realism to the plot. But this is a plot about chicken DNA and a virus that makes women give birth to dinosaur eggs. Okay? This is not realistic in the slightest. So for you to have this real bit of realism, harsh realism at the end, makes no sense. It's just infuriating to the audience. The antidote doesn't work for Thrush as he dies, and our hero Doc gets gunned down by a bunch of fucking military douchebags. And then the last shot of the film is Alfred E. Newman from Mad Magazine on a picture. His face is framed and it's on the wall in Doc's house, and you just see the what me why worry Alfred E. Newman picture burn, and then the camera zooms in trying to make, I don't know, some sort of artsy fartsy statement or some bullshit, and it just doesn't work. And it's like, was this whole movie just trolling me? You see Alfred E. Newman at the end. You see it early in the film too. So the last shot of the film is Alfred E. Newman from Mad Magazine. Just trolling me? Is it a joke? Because I'm not laughing. Because this ending blows. It's a really shitty ending, which is an insult to the audience and makes the film completely pointless. All of this effort, all of this to try to stop the dinosaurs and stop the extinction from happening, all this effort for Doc to save his girlfriend Thrush and to kill the T-Rex with the skid steer, only for him to get shot in the end by a bunch of fucking military douchebags. Great. Lovely. No, fuck that shit. I hate endings like that. I really do. There's no place for endings like that in a fun B movie like this. What the fuck, Adam Simon? And the pacing, there were some good lines of dialogue and there was a few gore sequences, but it was pretty dull any other time when you were watching the movie. So the other stuff in between those fun lines of dialogue and the gore bits was pretty boring. And it's only an hour and 23 minutes, but it did have a little bit of a slow pace to it. Without those sequences, without the witty lines of dialogue and the gore, you'd be bored out of your mind. The cinematography, I don't even know if there was any, to be honest. That's how good it was. The score, it was awful. It was twangy, southwestern dinosaur shit, cheap, lame, and forgettable. Recorded on a Casio in 30 seconds. Didn't add anything to the film. The sound design I thought was pretty weak too. The dinosaur roars were pathetic. Like they had the T-Rex roar and it sounded really wimpy. It sounded like, is that a T-Rex? So I don't think that's a T-Rex. I don't know what that is. It doesn't sound like a T-Rex to me. And the directing, Adam Simon, not the best director in the world. I mean, what the hell is up with the green Carnosaur vision shots? It would look fine without the green filter. It just looks stupid. Or the stupid crap typed on the bottom of the screen. What the fuck was up with that? You get to see the name of the character, and then you see some infection rate percentage number, and then you see some other scientific mumbo jumbo, and this shows up on the screen multiple times throughout the movie, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Why is this shit on the bottom of the screen? And it introduces you to some characters, and then it also reintroduces you to some characters. So it's like, I know who Dr. Jane Tiptree is already. Movie? It's like the percentage of infected population. I don't give a shit. What the fuck is up with this shit? Even the opening of the movie, just a bunch of random chickens and chicken slaughter, and just really lackluster direction. I know it's a low budget film, but there's not much really to this direction. So yeah, those are my cons for Carnosaur. As for my final verdict of Carnosaur, I think it's a pretty bad film. I'd say it's like I said, I don't hate the movie. There isn't a lot of ranting in this, except for the ending, which I do hate. I hate that shit. That ending is fucking terrible. I hate endings like that anyway. And it's just like a slap. This DVD case might have just done this. Ah, right in the face. Just right in the face for that fucking ending. I don't agree with some of these reviews. Thumbs up. Gene Siskel? Really? Even Roger Ebert was giving him shit. In the short-lived animated series The Critic with John Lovitz, there's a little joke that has Roger Ebert, Siskel and Ebert, and Ebert gets mad at Siskel, and he's like, "You like Carnosaur!" and Ebert called this one of the worst films he saw from the year 1993. And, yeah, ain't no walk in the park. Disagree, Chris Grohr. Awesome, these dinosaurs have bite. Not really. The sequels are much better. They really are. A big growling good time, and not really. But there was some fun to be had. I mean, that's why I don't hate this movie, because I do like Raphael Sbarge's character. I like his lines of dialogue. I like some of the gore bits. I like some of the creature effects. I like the fight with the T-Rex with the skid steer. I like Diane's performance. I just hate the ending, which is why I probably won't watch this movie very often, if ever again, really, because that ending is so shitty. But I don't hate the film, so that's why I don't like it as much as Gene Siskel does. But you know, I personally would prefer this over Jurassic World. But if I was gonna rate this out of 5 stars, I would give Carnosaur 2 out of 5. It's the definitive example of a poor film, a poor movie. It's got too many flaws in it, especially the ending, to really elevate it to even average status. I've seen worse, but I've seen better. But anyway, thank you for watching my review of Carnosaur, and I will see you guys later. See ya.